casually explain the greatest country on earth. Wait, is this about Canada?
Canada is the second largest country in the world by landmass, and despite having only 40 million people, it has a massively outsized global impact.
Pog!
Firstly, our flag is objectively the best humanity has come up with so far, and the only one that rivals us is when Japan powers up for 2 episodes and then sends their navy to commit war crimes.
You can't show that! I didn't know you could show that flag! I don't think you can do that! Oh my god, this stream is scuffed. It's so over.
Ask any American to name one non-economic metric that America does better than Canada, and they'll say, what's a metric? Most importantly, America likes to brag they put man on the moon, but Canada put women in leggings.
Exactly. What's more important, huh?
Now, even though Canada is known as the Great White North, if you look at the demographics of Vancouver, I'm in fact a minority. Despite my oppression, I live in harmony with other people, and Canada is a melting
Oh my god, he is white.
pot of cultures. From the west coast to the east coast, you have an enormous diversity of people. To illustrate the point, here we have the newlywed and nearly dead, then we have gays and Asians, then it goes Timu, Texas, Earth is flat, definitely flat, milk in a bag, gays, lobsters, potatoes, leprechauns. All the other territories are climate change insurance. Although,
oh my god. You just called all of Quebec gay.
Although it has a lot of similarities, Canadian culture is distinctly different from the US.
No, it's not.
As an example, Canada doesn't have the NFL,
That's
NBA, or MLB. We just have the NHL, which stands for No Houses Left. While we've tried nothing to solve this, we're all out of ideas. Because us cool Canadians on the West Coast who have pine trees and somewhat acceptable weather don't relate so much to everyone in the lame eastern provinces who have maple trees and funny accents.
It's true though, everyone from the west coast of Canada thinks they're superior to the east coast. And that is objectively true. We are.
The Pacific Northwest has previously thrown around the idea of creating our own independent sovereign territory called Cascadia, which would mostly include British Columbia, Washington, and Oregon. The idea came about when we asked ourselves if an economy could be sustained purely by fishermen, lumberjacks, and pride parades. And while haters say that men shouldn't be in women's sports, no other country is ever beating us at Olympic drag. Sometimes English-speaking Canadians get a little sad because we don't have much in our culture that is distinctly Canadian and not influenced by the United States. But that's exactly the beauty of it. One of the best parts of being Canadian is traveling abroad, and when someone asks you, "So where in the United States are you from?" you get to experience the joy and relief on their face when you say you're from Canada. The fact of the
That is so true. I've experienced this at least 10 times. Like someone in a foreign country hears you speaking like plain old American English, and they are so like visibly happy when they hear that you're from Canada. I'm so sorry for your global reputation, American.
matter is that Canadian and American culture are deeply intertwined. You might be European and think, "You North Americans are all the same. You think life is only about working and making more money so you can consume more. Over here, we know what truly matters in life. €2 wine, 3 girlfriends, 1 passport." Easy to say when you have time off to protest for more time off, but this jab doesn't faze us Canadians. Americans work long hours, complain a lot, and make a lot of money, whereas Canadians work long hours.
Please! If you ever wonder why there are a disproportionate amount of content creators coming out of Canada, this is literally your answer. This is so sad.
Similarly, the moment a Canadian goes to Europe and is like, "Wait, everything's closed from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. and every Sunday? Every street is one way? Why does it look like they just tacked on traffic lights to 300-year-old cobblestone roads? Where's the street parking? Where are the highway systems to connect us to Costco?" We then suddenly become aware there isn't a single IHOP, Tim Hortons, Denny's, or 24/7 drive-thru literally anywhere, and we realize this isn't work-life balance. This is some bullshit. And we stand with the Americans as our own brethren who especially do not tolerate being hungry under any circumstance. When you ask someone to think of things that are for real Canadian and not American at all, there are only a few things that come to mind. Beavers, moose, hockey, poutine, Rush, Nanaland, the big comfy couch, Terrence and Phillip, Little Bear, Franklin, This Cancer Patient, both Ryans and Nelly Furtado, Nathan Fielder, the Trailer Park Boys, the Scourge of the Earth, and of course maple syrup. But what truly defines Canadian culture is how we measure things, as we're not just bilingual and
both. Me completely lost on the entire like right side of that diagram. I don't know who any of those people are.
Both imperial and metric.
But I will say, Canadian geese are truly the scourge of the earth. They are the worst. We genuinely should just eat all of them and be done with it.
But we also just make up measurements as we go along.
This
People
is
and
true.
objects are weighed in pounds, but not food. We measure that in grams and milliliters. We measure alcohol in mils and liters, but a bottle of gin is a 2/6 and a glass of wine is in ounces. A person's height is measured in feet and inches, and short distances are also in feet. But if something is at the end of the block, we'll tell you it's like 50 meters away. Only old people use yards and miles. But that's okay, because all of us take pride in being able to poorly convert it to metric for you. Long distances are not measured in kilometers or miles, but are instead measured by the time it takes you to get there. All temperature is measured in Celsius because Fahrenheit just makes no sense at all. This excludes the oven. That should obviously be in Fahrenheit, as we all know Celsius only goes up to 100.
I feel so called out right now. I do literally every single one of those things. Every single system of measurement he just described contextually is something that I use. Literally, yeah. No, that's exactly how I feel about the weather. I will always, always, always describe weather in Celsius. And I will never, never, ever use Celsius to describe baking temperatures. I will always use Fahrenheit. Wait, Canada's messed up.
A major difference between Canada and the US is our slang. For example, what do you call this?
I call it a Coke.
Call this pop, while you guys call it soda.
Oh. I don't think I've ever called I call it a soft drink. Or soda. Yeah, I don't think I really call it pop. Does anyone? We call it pop too. I see.
Well, you guys call it soda. You call this a beanie, and we call it a toque. We would say this is a washroom.
It's a beanie. I refuse to use the French word. It's a beanie, goddammit. Through and through, it is a beanie. That is a washroom.
You would call this a restroom.
Okay, that's fair. I will never forget I'm ESL, right? One time in I think the 8th grade, I asked if I could use the bathroom during class, and the whole class like looked at me and laughed. And even and they laughed at me because the teacher pointed it out. She was like, "Bathroom? You mean the washroom, right? There's no bath in the toilets." And I was so crushed, and everyone giggled, and I left the classroom in shame. You know what's the absolute worst thing on top of that? The class was French.
We would call this an ambulance. Well, you call it filing for bankruptcy. We like to say that.
Point and laugh. Point and laugh. They can't afford healthcare.
That went from 0 to 100 real quick, while you say 32 to 212. While Canadians are known for saying sorry a lot, it's not because we're apologizing at all. We use it for every situation. An American would say, excuse me, pardon me, huh, or oops.
That's very true.
Trying to move past someone in the way, that's a sorry. Bumped someone accidentally, that's a sorry. What did you say? That's a sorry. Spilled your own drink? That's a sorry. Wait, that was your land? That's a sorry. For some reason, Americans find
I'm sorry.
our words for things cute and endearing, while we're annoyed because that's just how we talk. I thought Americans were just giving us the big brother treatment until one time an American came into the souvenir store I worked at when I was 18 and was like, help me out with your Monopoly money, I can't make sense of it. And while people still say that all the time about our fabulous and indestructible bills, he instead dropped a handful of coins onto the table and then was like, okay, this one's a nickel, this one's a dime, and this one's a quarter. We have the same sort of thing back home, but what on earth are these things? Okay, so that one's a loony. A what? Oh my gosh! Wow, what's that worth? A dollar. It's got a loon on it. It's like a duck sort of thing. That's why we call it a. Oh, wow. I haven't seen that before. You Canadians really are something, aren't you?
No.
Okay, then what's this one worth?
No.
$2? What do you call this one? A double loony? And I was like, I don't want to tell you anymore.
So for those of you who don't know, that is $2, and we call it a toonie. The loony is $1, and for 2 it's just 2 I'm so embarrassed.
Anyway, before you ask, yes, we do throw them at strippers, and yes, they do die sometimes. If you've ever wondered why your girlfriend always has random bruises on her legs and she says she doesn't know how they got there, now you know. At the end of the day, there's really only one way for Canada to be better than it is, which is if Air Canada
was fucked up like that.
But it's literally from the word. It's two because the $1 a loony.
Canada were replaced by literally any other airline. Besides that, only a few suggestions have been worth considering, like when Trump threw around the
Air Canada sucks.
idea of the United States becoming part of Canada. While this would increase the amount of provinces we have to 60, it would require some sacrifices. First of all, the force field we built on the southern border would have been for nothing. Secondly, guns would be everywhere, particularly in my possession, causing a threat to general safety. While Americans would finally get universal healthcare, that would bankrupt us all.
Yeah, take that. Take that for making fun of me for having a funny coin. Loser.
While the little morsel of British
we couldn't afford you guys.
education we still have in us would be cancelled out by the American education system, I'd finally be able to get a good brisket. All in all, not a bad trade-off for America to be run by Canadians from here on out. Now,
That is so true. This is something that I have personally experienced in my area. I watch so much food content on YouTube. I love meat. American barbecue looks absolutely divine.
If you guys had real money, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
I'll flick you with toonies. Oh my god, he's been uploading more frequently lately. This is a recession indicator. It's true.